Alrighty, so today is going to be basically my first commentary video ever. I'm really bad at talking off script. For my other channels, I use a script all the time. I literally just stumble constantly if I don't have one. But today I stumbled upon an interesting video that the YouTube algorithm was so kind to provide me with. Bloodborne doesn't need a remaster. With the thumbnail, 60 FPS is overrated. Now this video isn't bad per se, and she seems like a nice lady, but there was a few things I very much disagreed with, so yeah, that's basically what this channel's about. I'm just gonna be responding to things about gaming that I disagree with. Now, if you make your way down to the comments, one of the things that the comment section is pointing out is that she apparently says some games run better at 30 FPS, which I have watched the majority of this video already, and I can confirm to you, yes, she does say that. Also, I just want to point out, I know that people hate hearing this, but we had 60 FPS on the GameCube. If you want to argue in the comments about why that's not the same thing, since those games were graphically worse, feel free to, because I do think that sacrificing frame rate for graphics is one of the worst things that a game can ever do. But let's just see what she has to say.
Bloodborne. This cosmic Victorian Gothic horror masterpiece came out back in March of 2015. The Born in Soulsborne. It was developed by From Software and their resident mastermind, Hidetaka Miyazaki. That's my boy right there.
So yeah, a lot of this video is spent just praising Bloodborne. She's a big Bloodborne fan. And actually, I probably should have brought this up earlier, but I'm not really a huge Dark Souls guy. Like, I played Elden Ring, I thought it was pretty good. It just wasn't really my cup of tea. However, the reason I'm still making this video is that you don't need to be a Souls fan to tell that 60 FPS is objectively a better overall experience. And saying that Bloodborne doesn't need a remaster is just I just think that's incorrect. Now, one of the things she does in this video is compares video game frame rate to frame rate in movies, which most movies are 24 frames per second. And like some of the comments have pointed out, not only is it just dumb to compare movies with interactive media like video games, but especially for a game like Bloodborne, because it's a game that literally requires precise movements at all times. I could see making this argument for like Red Dead Redemption 2 or something. That game's 30 FPS and looks great, but that game doesn't require precise movements like a Dark Souls game does.
And yet, without fail, every time I stream the game, there's at least one person who comes in and says,
about this game. I'll probably just wait till they release it at 60 FPS.
And my heart breaks. Because everyone deserves to experience this.
It's almost like wanting this game to be 60 FPS is a valid complaint. And maybe instead of getting mad at people for wanting that, get mad at Sony for not doing it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't FromSoft indirectly say that they would be up for remastering the game, but they can't because Sony didn't give them the green light? But for some reason, Sony greenlights Horizon Zero Dawn getting a remaster, even though it already runs at 60 FPS and looks incredible on PS5.
Movies, for instance, are shown at just 24 frames per second. Most of us don't think twice about that. It's just how movies are supposed to look.
Yeah, because in movies, you're not required to perfectly dodge enemy attacks one after the other. Playing the game at 30 FPS instead of 60 gives you more input lag and makes the game less smooth to control. That is not my opinion. That is an objective fact. I do think what she talks about next regarding how movies can look weird when they're running above 24 FPS was insightful. I genuinely didn't know about that since I don't really watch a whole lot of modern movies. But again, it's kind of just a non sequitur comparison because gaming is inherently much more reliant on good frame rate. Also, another thing about this video is she points out that not only is Bloodborne 30 frames per second, but it also drops below that at times. So then why wouldn't it need a remaster then? You say that you prefer a consistent 30 over an inconsistent 60, but then you say Bloodborne's frame rate isn't consistent. So wouldn't it at least deserve a remaster to make the frame rate consistent then? Later in the video, she addresses that some games do play better at 60, which I mean all games do, but she apparently doesn't include Souls games in that list because she doesn't think FPS matters as much in these games, which maybe I'm just overestimating how much frame rate matters in these games since, like I've said, I've only played Elden Ring and a bit of Dark Souls 1, but still every Souls fan I've talked to disagrees with her about this. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I'm not gonna just steal her entire video. Go watch the rest of it if you're interested. It's not a bad video, but there is some stuff I don't agree with. Anyway, that's it. See ya.